beautiful fall day here in Sedona, and because I live in Sedona, a lot of people ask me about artwork. They like to decorate their homes, but they know the art galleries in Sedona here are very expensive. That is true. Now, I have seen some amazing pieces in the Sedona galleries that I drool over, but I haven't really bought anything because they're just so pricey. And even though I love art, a lot of the art you see in my home have been done with one of my relatives, by one of my relatives or my friends, and so I don't have a lot of expensive artwork, but I do have artwork I'd like to share with you today. So I'm going to start by showing you art that you will see as you come into my hallway, and a lot of these have been found in some of the Sedona shops that are not the high tourist traffic shops. So I'm going to go ahead right now and start my tour. So my dog, of course, is always excited that I'm about to shoot a video because maybe he can make a cameo in it. Oh, and then there's the other one, hoping to do the same. I'm going to start with my hallway. As I come in, I have these two pieces that I just love. This plate right here, a beautiful plate of Cathedral Rock. I actually found this in the Humane Society thrift store, and it was $50. Now, you think thrift store $50 is a lot, but if you had found that in the gallery, it would probably have been $500. So I love that plate, and it was definitely worth it. Now this little guy over here, this horse sculpture, very nice sculpture, I got that just about a month ago at a silent auction in one of the charity events here in Sedona. So another thing that locals are privy to is there'll be these events, and there's another one coming up by the Humane Society in a few weeks where you could bid in a silent auction. Basically, if you've never been in a silent auction, what happens is there'll be this piece of art, and there's a sheet of paper with, you know, your starting bid is, say, $50, and you write down your name and address and number and $50, and then if a person wants to outbid you, they'll write down on the next line, and eventually I ended up with this piece. So this piece right behind me is a watercolor of a rooster. I got this at Turnstile Consignment Store in Chandler, Arizona. It was a place I loved to shop when I lived in the Valley. They have great home goods, clothing, and artwork, and I found a lot of nice pieces in that place over the years. This one I think cost me about $35, so I have this in the hallway as I come in. Now look at this amazing beauty I found at a consignment store here in Sedona. Now this is kind of a funny story. I was shopping with a friend of mine at the consignment store. It's the one over by the Bashes, and as soon as I walked in, I was eyeing it, and I'm like, wow, I like that painting, but wow, I have a lot of paintings. Where would I hide it? Where would I hang it? I'm looking like, oh, I need to get a frame. I don't know what to do. Should I get it? Should I not get it? I'm sitting there staring at it, and my friend's like, oh my gosh, make up your mind, and she just takes it and buys it for me as a gift. So I'm embarrassed, but that's how I came across this piece. Supposedly it's a very well-known local artist. Here the edges were, you know, from a frame, and I will eventually get a frame, but I decided I'd just paint the edges of it so I could hang it frameless for now, and I will get a frame a little bit later on. So, okay, so now I'm moving into my hallway, and I have a piece that was painted by my mother and my grandmother. Let me move over a little bit so you can see it. This one is one of my grandfathers. Now, my grandfather was an amazing artist. He was not a professional artist. He was a part-time artist. He actually worked as a machinist during the day and did his artwork, you know, as his hobby. And he never sold the artwork because he said, well, he does copy, so he can't sell it because they're not original. I still think he could have sold it, but again, beautiful artwork by my grandfather. This here is a painting by my mother. So another seascape. I love seascapes, and so I have these two. My mother, again, an amazing artist. Unfortunately, she's in the nursing home now and can't really do art anymore, but when I sold her house last year, I got a bunch of her amazing pieces. So now this chicken piece here, or rooster piece here, I got at the Humane Society thrift store again. This is just a chicken picture, another local artist. I think I paid $25 or $18 for this guy, so I've got him hanging in my hall. And then I have this other piece here. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's going on with this. So every year for 20-30 years, my art club that I belong to in the Valley has an annual art event where we sell tickets, we cater a beautiful meal, and the artists in the club paint all year, and they donate their pieces to the art club, and then we do a raffle or a silent auction. So this piece was painted by my friend Elena Rowe, and my mother had purchased that for a gift for me from the silent auction. So another piece that I got from a friend of mine. Now this piece I loved also. It was from the silent auction for my art club fundraiser. A few years ago I bought it to hang in my cabin. I sold my cabin a year ago, and so I just recently found a spot for it here in my own home. And now if we look here, this beautiful painting of grapes was painted by my mother. It's on a wonderful tin plate, and actually my mother and I each painted one of these at an art seminar that was put on by the art club. So of course my mother is a much better artist than I am, so her piece came out way better than mine. I actually can't even find my piece. It's in a box somewhere probably, but I got this when we sold my mother's house, and it's hanging on my wall along with the one from the art club that came out of my cabin. Now this piece my grandfather painted for me when I was a little girl. He knew I loved seascapes, and he knew I loved ships, so one day he's like, "Dawn, would you like a picture of a ship? I'll paint you one." I'm like, "Of course I do." I was thrilled. Of course, I was about 12 years old, but came out beautiful. I've had it hanging in my home ever since. This piece we call the Lavender Lady. It is one my grandfather did. It was in my Aunt Mickey's house when I went to visit one year. She says, "Oh, you like it? I'll send it to you." So I've been hanging this one about 10 years or so, maybe 15. And it was a copy of a painting by the old masters. Somewhere I can find the original, and I'll post it in this video if I can find it, but chances are I'm not organized enough to find the original. But again, this one is a beauty. So this painting behind me is the only one I have hanging in the house that I did myself. I did find this. It's the Mermaid Couple. I found it in a magazine, and I decided I would try to do it with colored pencils. Now, it didn't come out so bad, but the original is way better. Now, when I did this, my daughter may have been about 12, 14 years old. She sees it and she's like, "Mom, he has his hand on her boob," which was really funny at the time. She's such a cute little innocent girl. I hope she's still thinking that way now that she's at college. Anyhow, but that's what this one came about. I actually would like to do it again, but since I haven't been practicing in a long time, it would probably come out worse, so I think I'm just going to keep it the way it is. This is another painting that was done by my grandfather. It's called the Sea Nymphs. I know it's a copy of the master, so you could probably find the original someplace, but I don't know where it is. I'm actually going to hang it above the bed, but I haven't done that yet, so it's just sitting out right now. And this amazing beauty is another one I got at the raffle at the Cactus Wren Creates, Cactus Wren Decorative Artists. Again, the art club fundraiser show that I was telling you about. The show is amazing, fundraiser, but 2 years in a row it's been canceled because of the COVID. So hopefully in a year from now we'll have the event again, and it will be fabulous because people have been painting now. It'll be 3 years and we should be overflowing. If you want to buy tickets next year, it usually happens the first weekend in November, and you can contact me if you're interested in tickets in late 2022. So this is a portrait of my mother, painted by my grandfather's best friend, Mata. Now, Mata, it's E. Garcia Mata. He was a famous Cuban artist. He actually was the artist that did the presidential portraits for the Cuban government back in the 40s and 50s. And when Castro came in, he had to flee the country to not be killed. Took up residence in New York City, where he met my grandfather. Now, Mata was Cuban. My grandfather is Italian. Mata at the time couldn't speak English, so he would speak to my grandfather. Mata would speak Spanish. My grandfather would speak back in Italian, and they totally understood each other. So this is one of the beautiful prints I have of Mata's portrait of my mother. Now I'm in my daughter's bedroom, which has been converted to my recording studio, and again another masterpiece that my grandfather painted. A copy from the old masters. It was in my mother's house. We sold it a year ago. I ended up taking it. He had painted this for my sister, but my sister just does not have the tall walls, and it's hard to hang a painting of this size in homes today. So my daughter saw that. She's like, "Oh, I love that painting," and my sister gave it to her. So here it is in my Sedona house, in my art studio, which is also my daughter's bedroom. Alright, I said art studio, I meant to say recording studio. So these are plates. These plates are fun to paint on. This I got from my mother's house. It's a cardinal. This is actually just one she threw together, not a well-prepared piece, but it came out very well. And this one came from one of my best friends, Mary. She painted this. My mother won it in a raffle, but yet I got it when we sold her house. And finally, this one, my mother painted it at a seminar, another wonderful art seminar that the club puts on. She did this one. We actually did I want to say a replica of this piece recently and donated to a friend, my friend's mother, and it is in their family now. So another great piece. Again, this one, the rooster, these birds, my friend Mary did an excellent job on, and then this original one my mother did, oh, this would have been like 1989. So this is one of the first pieces my mother did. Before I finish up today, I want to show you some of the pieces on my fireplace. Now, a lot of people come to Sedona and they see these houses with these old fireplace. I have to say, this particular fireplace you will find very commonly here in Sedona. Many people come in and they're like, ew, I don't like it. It looks so old. But in reality, there are a lot of things you can do with this type of a fireplace. If you had something just to make it a little bit more modernized, and if you want to make it a little bit different. So let me show you what I have done here. When I go to the crystal shops, occasionally I will find these little hearts that are different types of crystals, and I will buy one. Now they're expensive here in Sedona, but I will find them and I will just inlay them into little cubbies here in the fireplace, and that kind of makes it a little bit different, a little bit unique, and it makes it kind of a fun hobby. Now this one here, this original stone, was left by the previous owners, and that's actually what gave me the idea to do it in the first place. Same thing with this stone right here. Just a plain stone, but was shaped by a heart. And my dog is getting into the, get out of there. My dog's getting into the bird food. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about crystals. I love crystals. I do collect them, but here in Sedona, if you go to Crystal Magic or any other local crystal shops, they will cost you quite a bit. So there are a few places here in Sedona. There's the Sedona Artist Gallery. It's like a student gallery that's next to the Humane Society thrift store in West Sedona, kind of by the Harkins Theater. You can get crystals at a good price there. Also, if you go to Phoenix and stop at the Brass Armadillo, you will get good deals there. So last time I was in Phoenix, I bought this little crystal here. Again, with the point, these are very popular. If you bought this in Crystal Magic, I bet it cost you 50 bucks, but I got it for 10 bucks at the Brass Armadillo. And then again, this one, I think I got this at the Crystal, you know, the Sedona Artist Gallery, the one I was just telling you next to the thrift store, the Humane Society thrift store in West Sedona. This one costs like 40 bucks. Now, I know you think, oh, that little rock for 40 bucks. You can buy that in Crystal Magic. I bet it would be $150. And again, Crystal Magic, I love it. So occasionally I'll go in there and buy something, but that's where I'll buy these little hearts. Now this is a big heart, but the little heart like this you might get for like 15, 20, 25 bucks at Crystal Magic, the smaller version. This big version I bet would be 50 or more at Crystal Magic. But you know, they're fun, and if you're shopping and you just want to buy one little thing, these little hearts carved out in crystal are a fun way to go. And so another nice benefit of having one of these old fireplaces, even though, yeah, they're old-fashioned and a lot of people don't like it, but like I said, you can make it your own. A couple things, of course, you can put all this stuff in the mantle, which I like to do, and I'll show it to you in a second. But then, come Christmas time, you can hang stockings from the fire, and that's nice. Now, I don't ever have a real fire in here, but sometimes I put one of those fake electronic inserts into there, and it has a nice ambience in the wintertime. Alright, so I told you I like to collect crystals. Here's some amethyst pieces I got. This back here is a photo of my mother and father back years ago in Brooklyn. I do like to have little religious artifacts from the different religions. You know, I've got a Buddha here, some of my samples of crystals, again, more amethyst. I thought this little Viking guy was fun, so I picked him up a few years ago. And these little triangle guys, I got that at the Sedona, every other week they have the Sedona artists, it's little street fair. So I got these guys will make these and you can get them at the street fair. Of course I got a little Ganesh back here, a couple of these fossils. I'll get another crystal, St. Francis, I love St. Francis. And this of course is my favorite picture of my dad. I love this picture. And finally, again, another beautiful piece that my mother made. This was taught to her by Joanne Heyman, I believe. A great piece. My mother, again, an excellent artist, and I'm still putting away some of her stuff. And now this is the abalone and the sage that I bought to cleanse the house when I moved in. Of course, that was 2 years ago, and I still haven't done it. But that's what that is for. So that's it. I just wanted to prove to you that you don't have to spend a fortune to decorate your house with beautiful artwork here in Sedona. Of course, it's wonderful if you can buy pieces from the local art galleries because it supports our community, but you don't have to. You can do like me, decorate it with some nice pieces, and then when I become a top producing agent, I will get some more pieces from the gallery, maybe switch some of these out. I'm Dawn Dickenson. I work for Realty One Group Mountain Desert here in beautiful Sedona, and I sell real estate in Sedona, Verde Valley, which would be Cottonwood, Camp Verde, and those towns. Also Flagstaff and the cabin towns like Stillman Lake, Mormon Lake, Munns Park. If you have a real estate question, I'd be happy to answer it or chat with you. Look down in the description below and you can find my contact information where you can either send me a text, a phone call, or an email, and I will get back to you. Hope you're having a great day, and if you like the video, please put a thumbs up and subscribe because I post videos every single week, and I hope to see you back here again next week.